Hi everyone, my name is Sankey and today I'm going to be talking a bit about tongue blocking. So for the next coming weeks and months I'm going to be uploading some videos about tongue blocking, which is a very important technique for playing the harmonica, diatonic and chromatic actually, although here I'm referring to the diatonic kind. And if you play blues, country, jazz, folk, tongue blocking is a technique that you want to be looking at. And today I'm going to be starting about why you should do it. And I'm going to be talking about 5 reasons why you should consider tongue blocking. There's already a lot of videos about tongue blocking on YouTube. Check them out, do a search. And this is my own particular take. And for those of you who don't know what tongue blocking is, by way of quick explanation, obviously on a harmonica you've got multiple holes. If you want to play clean single notes, you obviously have to prevent the other notes from sounding, and you can most typically do that by using an embouchure, which is called lip pursing, which is the most common, or you can use your tongue to block off the holes that you don't want to sound with one side of your tongue and letting the air flow. And you can tongue block on both sides of your tongue as well. So it's a very useful technique, which I'll come on to explain. So the first reason why you should consider using tongue blocking and integrating it into your playing is because it opens a whole new world of effects which are not open to you if you are a lip purser or you don't use tongue blocking. So tongue blocking goes beyond just this idea of producing single notes. It lets you produce effects which you can't do with lip pursing. So the first one, which is most commonly referred to, is octaves, which sounds like this. Now my last video was about octaves, so check that out. But essentially you can't do that, play 2 notes at once, which are an octave apart on the diatonic, unless you lip purse. And what you're doing there is you're putting your tongue on the harmonica and blowing or drawing either side. So that's the first example of effects that you can only do tongue blocking. Another one is the tongue switch and the tongue flutter. So that sounds like, so you'll hear Little Walter do that, you hear Kim Wilson do that. That's moving your tongue side by side. And that produces a different sound to going, which obviously you can do tongue block or lip purse. The other one is the tongue flutter, as I call it, which is moving your tongue forward instead of side by side. It sounds like this. And great on intros. You would have heard people like Big Walter Halton making that sound. So really, it opens up a world of effects and textural possibilities to put into your music. I remember when I first started playing, I began as a lip purser, and I'd hear sounds, particularly on Muddy Waters records, like this. That kind of, I was like, what's that? And that is an effect which you need to be able to tongue block. So the second reason why you should look at tongue blocking is really because it allows you to do some different rhythmic things, which it's a kind of different possibility. So for instance, this kind of country style playing involves a lot of tongue blocking to get those. You can't really do that lip purse. So it's rhythmic possibilities, and I sort of incorporate in that same rhythm area is to produce these kind of sounds when you're playing single notes. So you've got that swirling. Those kind of swirling sounds don't really sound good, especially higher up, without tongue blocking. And players like William Clark, Kim Wilson, Big Walter Halton, of course, use that sound to kind of fatten and add a kind of another textural dynamic and rhythmic dynamic to what they're doing. So rhythm is another important idea here. The third one, which is probably the most sort of talked about and debated, is tone. So tongue blocking will definitely give you a bigger sound in certain parts of the harmonica. I personally believe it will give you a better sound everywhere. But there are plenty of amazing players who don't tongue block and get amazing sound. So I should say that off the bat. And actually, when I say better sound, it's just a different sound. So if you're looking for a bigger, fatter sound, then tongue blocking is to be considered the way to go. But players like Howard Levy can tongue block. Howard can do everything. But he doesn't tongue block his runs, and he obviously has an amazing, sweet tone. So it shouldn't be taken as, tongue blocking is the best and blah, blah, blah. But certainly for sort of deep blues, Chicago blues, and certainly moving up the harmonica, certainly from draw 4 upwards, it does give you a bigger sound. And if that's what you're going for, on top of the other reasons that I've just mentioned, the rhythm and the effects, this is a really, really good reason to consider tongue blocking. So you can get a perfectly, awesome sound on the first 3 holes, for example, without tongue blocking. So for instance, draw 2, I'm not tongue blocking that. Paul Lamb, for example, he has an awesome draw 2, and he doesn't, I think he lip purses that and he uses tongue blocking as he moves up the harmonica. Other players, for example, Joe Falisco, Dennis Grungling, Sugar Blue, they tongue block all the time. So if I tongue block this note, that's tongue blocked. That isn't. So it is very, very close, or in fact perhaps imperceptibly different. But as you move up the harmonica, certainly around the draw 4, draw 5, you will notice a difference in that tone. So tone is a big one. The fourth reason, which it's not talked about that much, but is absolutely crucial, is what I call just maneuverability. I've talked about this before. But when you're playing the harmonica, if you only lip purse or you only tongue block, making intervals or playing riffs or scales or arpeggios where the next note you want to play is not next to the hole that you're on, either blow or draw, it is very difficult. So going from, say for instance, the draw 2 up an octave to the blow 6, if you only tongue block or you only lip purse, it's quite difficult to make that leap accurately because you're having to move your lips on one side of your tongue. It can be done, but if you are able to integrate tongue blocking into your style, whether it's using both sides or just one side, you'll find you'll be able to play these intervals. So another great example is these kind of turnarounds. So if you want to go, so you're going draw 1, draw 4, blow 1, blow 4. So if you imagine having to go just with one technique, it's quite difficult. And those kind of little Walter type intervals, there's a lot of tongue blocking involved. So essentially, the fourth reason why to think about tongue blocking is about playing these intervals and be able to make leaps up and down in a way accurately that's hard if you only lip purse or indeed you only tongue block. So what I'm saying there is I'm kind of advocating using a bit of both. And I'll be talking about that more in another video. And the fifth reason to think about tongue blocking is probably because a lot of your heroes used it, and that's as good a reason as any I can think of. So Big Walter Halton, Sonny Terry, Sonny Boy Williamson, Little Walter, Kim Wilson, they all use tongue blocking to a greater or lesser extent. As I said earlier, some harmonica players such as Dennis Grungling, Joe Falisco, Sugar Blue, they tongue block all the time. Which can seem incredible if you're a lip purser and you try tongue blocking and you can't do those bends, but you can tongue blocking, and those guys are evidence that it is possible to do those things. And historically, if you want to check some people out, listen to Sonny Terry, a lot of tongue blocking in there. Joe Falisco will say he tongue blocks all the time. Even further back, J. Bird Coleman use tongue blocking, and Big Walter Halton is a fantastic player to start with. So I hope that's been useful. That's kind of 5 reasons why you should think about using tongue blocking in your diatonic harmonica playing. And I think a lot of that translates actually to the chromatic, certainly the leaps and the intervals, etc., and the octaves. So I'll be uploading some other videos, and hopefully you'll check those out. Thank you very much.